Well, cuckolds. It's your boy, the hater, again, and I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, wow, another video? Like, what's going on here? I'll tell you what's going on. The hater's back. That's what's going on. We're taking this channel to different heights. Best believe, as you all know, if you've been around here for a minute, every time I try to grow this channel, it grows, obviously, with relative reference to my current numbers or anything like that. But like, if I want to get 100 subscribers a month, I can do it just like that. If I want to get 200 after that, I can do it. It's all about the effort I put in. And now we're going to put in more effort is the point. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Malachi Black. Now, I've chosen Malachi Black as the topic of this video because I believe he makes a good case study for the point I'm going to make. Now, I don't know much about his situation. I know that he's asked for his release and he cited some personal problems. So, obviously the hater wishes him the best. The hater has no ill intent in his heart about any wrestler or any person in the world, that is, So, obviously we want Malachi Black to be okay. We don't want him to be like depressed and all the other bullshit, I don't want him to be sad, but the facts are what the facts are. Let's be real, right? In one of the things that I did read, he explained that one of the reasons why he's upset about AEW is because there were promises made that never materialized, And of course there were. I mean, he's kind of an idiot if you ask me, all that depression stuff aside, that's serious, but he's also an idiot at the same time. What did he think? Did he really think he was going to be a main eventer? Based on what logic would he be a main eventer? You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, what else could they have promised him? They obviously promised him either a main event run or at least, a lot more exposure than he was getting in WWE. He's getting neither. And he's lucky to even get that, if you ask me, right? He is not alone in this predicament, right? I'm using him as an example because he's asking for his release. It's only a matter of time before someone like Miro asks for his release, right? It's only a matter of time before like Keith Lee asks for his release. You want to be a tag team champion, you could have been an NXT tag team champion, same shit, right? These people want more, and AEW promises them more because it looks at them as stars, but then realizes that, they really aren't stars, right? Like, maybe there's something about them specifically that prevents them from getting that next level. And I am going to talk about what it is for Malachi Black and some others that prevent them from being mainstream stars. First of all, for Malachi Black specifically, the gimmick. The gimmick is not a good gimmick. I have talked about this probably a year ago, right? But, and certainly, I've talked about it in other videos where I've mentioned Malachi Black, but this guy does not have a good gimmick. He has a horrible gimmick. And the gimmick is the same as it was in AEW and in WWE, right? In AEW, he just has two other people that follow him for no reason, right? Why they're following him? Unclear. Why Buddy Matthews has turned to the dark side? Unclear. Why Julia Hart turned to the dark side? Unclear. What is the dark side? Unclear. Have you noticed that this is a common trend in these dark side, evil thing, gimmicks, especially when they're group gimmicks, like Dark Order, right? Now, of course, Brody Lee died, so obviously, rest in peace. That was kind of a curveball. But the idea was that the Dark Order was supposed to be this like cult-like thing, right? But except like they don't feel like a cult. They feel like jobbers. Like you turn the TV on and it's like, Stu, don't call him Dick Grayson, as JR would tell us every damn week, right? He asked for his release as well, or got fired. I don't know what happened. Who cares, right? Then we have Evil Uno, who looks like a jobber. I mean, this guy, like, he has the physique of a jobber, and he has the ring attire of a jobber. And he's supposed to be this, like, he's the number one. After, like, what's it called? After Brody Lee, he's like the number one, right? And then Stu Grayson is the number two, and that's why they all have numbers associated with their names, right? It's supposed to be like kind of the hierarchy. But the reality is what the reality is. Malachi Black, as well as every other dark gimmick ever, it's not ever going to work in WWE or AEW. It's only going to work if the people in this gimmick become world champion immediately, right? Bray Wyatt didn't work, right? It didn't work. Say what you want. It didn't work. The Fiend was champion. Who gives a damn? And then he got destroyed by Randy Orton like 7 times in a row. Like it's like every Bray Wyatt angle led to him meeting with Randy Orton and Randy Orton just humiliating him completely, right? First he burns down the compound. Then he infiltrates the Wyatt family. Then he burns down the compound again, right? Then he burns down the Fiend, right? Then he RKOs the Fiend and beats him. Right? Randy Orton is pretty much the only thing left would be for Randy Orton to fuck the Fiend's wife and complete the entire domination that way, right? So it's the same thing with the Wyatt family that it is with Dark Order and that it is with the House of Black. It's like you put a bunch of jobbers there, and then the argument is like, oh, we're scary jobbers. It's like, dude, you're still jobbers. Like, why the hell would Wardlow give a shit about like Dark Order or give a shit about House of Black, right? Wardlow's out there destroying everybody, right? Like, if they ever were to book a match, Wardlow versus Aleister Black, Wardlow would win, and we all know it, right? He's higher up on the card, right? Just by looking at him and the way he's been booked, he's higher up on the card. So it's like, then all of a sudden, Aleister Black is not that scary now, is he, right? Scary gimmicks only work if it's someone like Kane. Kane's like the baseline, right? But it really has to be someone like Undertaker, or that level, right? Where he's like in the Ministry of Darkness, and he is a bona fide main eventer, right? With significant like history at that point. He was already like 7 years in the company, right? A bona fide main eventer who looks the part, who's good in the ring, who's badass, and he's surrounded by badasses, right? You have like Midian and Viscera in there, but you also have the APA. You have like, at one point, Edge and Christian and Gangrel. You have people like that potentially one day could become somebody, right? And then became the corporate ministry, you had Vince, etc. The point being that, like, that's the only way it works. It doesn't work like this, right? Some reason, Malachi Black must have thought, that's the only conclusion I can come to, he must have thought that he was going to get a main event push. Now, he should have known better than this, right? Because let's be real, he's not a main eventer. He knows this. He knows that a company cannot base itself around Malachi Black. He knows that, right? Let me think about this. What does John Cena have in common with Stone Cold or The Rock? Well, at least in the past. Number one, all of them super main eventers. Triple H, so we'll throw him in there as well, right? None of these guys are covered in tattoos. The only one is Undertaker. And do you think it's a coincidence? No. Randy Orton, covered in tattoos, B level, right? A lot of people that don't get tattoos because it shows a form of professionalism, right? Randy Orton can never be the face of WWE. You understand? He could never be the face. He can be the second guy, but he'll never be the guy that the kids are told to look up to, right? Because he has a lot of tattoos and he looks not like a good guy, right? You need that clean cut, all-American, appearance, right? You need to have that charisma and you need to have that presentability, right? Where it's like this guy has his head on straight, he works hard, Hulk Hogan style, right? Not fucking like Kevin Nash. You need to be Hulk Hogan, not Nash. You need to be Triple H or John Cena or The Rock or Stone Cold. You can't be Undertaker. That's why Undertaker was never the number one guy in the company, right? Amongst other reasons. But it's part of it is his appearance, right? You have to fit the part. Aleister Black should never have any kind of aspirations that he would be anything other than a jobber, right? A mid-carder at best. He should be satisfied if his role in the company was that of Pac. If he was on the same level as Pac, that should be satisfied. Pac is where he needs to be. Pac needs to be a little bit higher because he's a little bit better than, hanging out with Death Triangle. But that's about it, right? That's the ceiling for people like him. And he is under the impression that his ceiling is that of Randy Orton. That's the only explanation I can think of. Because otherwise, he shouldn't be surprised at all as to what his spot on the card is, right? And this is a big stab in the heart against this idea of creative control and creative freedom, right? What creativity? You tell me, Cucks, what did Aleister Black do? What did he do that was creative? Oh, this man, he's a tortured artist. Oh, he likes H.P. Lovecraft and Aleister Crowley. Oh, this guy reads a lot of fiction. Oh, he's going to implement this into his character. He implemented dick is what he did. He implemented nothing. He was the same character as he was in NXT, except now he painted his face. Ooh, what a great gimmick. Same shit with Miro, right? If anything, Miro was more entertaining in WWE with Rusev Day, even though that was stupid, versus this Redeemer nonsense, right? There are so many people in AEW that, either they don't have creative freedom, that's a possibility too, or they do, and their creativity is just shit, right? Darby Allin is another one. Oh, I'm going to put a fake mask on and skateboard. You're holding back Sting. You know what I'm saying? Sting's in his 60s, right? And this asshole is holding Sting back. No. Doesn't make any sense. You don't want to see this, right? What you want to see is good wrestling. But this shows that certain facts are axiomatic. They are axiomatic and they are just part of life. And these facts include the reality that Aleister Black and someone like Rusev and all these, that category of wrestler, right? Isaiah Swerve Scott, Keith Lee, all of these guys are at best jobbers, right? They are nothing more than jobbers. As a result, they will be treated as jobbers, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's as simple as that, cucks. They are jobbers, and they will be treated as jobbers. And they have aspirations of being main eventers. And the fans, instead of treating them like they're supposed to treat them, they treat everyone like it's Hulk Hogan, right? Aleister Black debuts like, oh my God, holy shit. What are you going to do when someone good actually comes along, right? Imagine if Rey Mysterio switched over, he would not get that same reaction. Because Rey Mysterio is not presented in the smart neckbeard community as someone that was never given a shot. Because, to be frank, he was given a shot. But the reality is still there. The truth is still the truth. All these other jobbers have been given a shot, and they have failed. And it's not, honestly, I can't even say they failed, right? It's not very fair to say that Aleister Black failed, in WWE or in NXT or in AEW, right? He succeeded to his abilities. This is the limit of his abilities. His abilities say mid-carder. He becomes a mid-carder. And just like I said from the beginning, when this guy came to AEW, I was like, this guy's going to be a mid-carder, and that's it. Simple as that. He's going to be a mid-carder. He was a mid-carder. Rusev, he's going to be a mid-carder. He was a mid-carder. And that's what happened, right? It's very clear the type of people that become main eventers in this company. It's basically either former WWE guys, right, that had some modicum of main event status in WWE, or it's other people that don't have that, right, but that are like AEW guys, if you will, right? Like Kenny Omega, Adam Page. These guys are going to get their shots, right? There's a few other MJF, a bunch of these people that I consider them to be AEW guys. They're going to get their shots for that reason. Wardlow's another one, right? But like if Baron Corbin went to AEW, nobody would give a shit. And nobody should. He's going to be an upper card, like more of a mid-carder, if we're being honest. And that's it, right? Same thing with all these jabrones. But if Drew McIntyre comes in, Drew McIntyre is going directly to the main event and squashing Daniel Bryan. That's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? It's quite simple, right? If you've been a champion in WWE, you will become a champion in AEW. If you had at any point have become the world champion in WWE or, God forbid, WCW, right? You will become a champion, unless I guess Sting is the only exception because he's like 60-something. But otherwise, you will become a champion. If Seth Rollins goes to AEW, champion within a week. CM Punk, champion within like a few months. Daniel Bryan, he's going to be a champion. Believe me. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are going to become champions. But if you were a mid-carder in WWE, it takes a lot for AEW to say, oh, well, you're a mid-carder there, but I really think you're a main eventer. That's why Cesaro is already on his way to AEW Dark. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, get wrecked.